That was a blast. Absolutely, that's where I'm at.
About now and
The full setup on card.
Josh, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man. It's going well,
So,
thanks.
This is the first. This is the first time I've had another guy named Josh on the show.
My boss is named Josh, too. It's been Josh's all day.
I mean, that seems to be it. I'd say two Joshes definitely make it right. What's going on, man?
Not a lot. Thanks for having me on to talk about some hill climbs.
Heck yeah. So, well, let's just go ahead and jump right in. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'll try not to be too long-winded. My wife tells me I talk too much, but, us racer guys, we like to talk. I met a guy when I started hill climbing, or when I started autocrossing, who found out I was from Western Pennsylvania, and he said, "Hey, you go to those hill climbs?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So moved back to Pennsylvania, and I went and spectated. This was 2009. I went and spectated the Polish Mountain Hill Climb, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm doing this.
That sounds awesome.
Life happened. It took a little while. So 2016, I got out there with a couple of friends and started hill climbing, and I've been hooked ever since. So now I'm trying to get other people hooked.
Heck yeah, man! That sounds awesome. Well, I'll tell you this: we've got quite a few people that are following. So because this is the topic of everywhere right now. I gotta throw this out there. Is the Vitor P1 allowed on this podcast?
So, yeah,
for this podcast, yes. For racing purposes, I'll let you answer.
I'll just answer that right off the bat. Sure. So I'm going to talk about a couple different organizations that you can run with. One of them, you can run whatever tire you want. So I'm not the tire gatekeeper. So sure.
So I did see that Indy region just opened up and said they'd allow them to be used regionally for their stuff. So that's quite the drama fest right now, is with that specific tire. I don't know. Tire wars, man.
Yeah, I've stayed off of that page and out of all those things, but I have buddies sending me the memes and stuff, so I can kind of follow along.
Oh, I know, and it's hilarious. All right, so tell us about hill climbing, man. What is the scoop on hill climbing?
Yeah, so most everybody knows about Pikes Peak. A lot of people know about the Climb to the Clouds, because Travis Pastrana did that one. A lot of people will even know about the Empire Hill Climb in Michigan, because Acura took one of their race cars out there, did that, and they did some social media stuff. But what a lot of people don't realize is that SCCA Hill Climb has been around for a really long time. And at certain points in history, it's been really popular, and it's getting really popular again. The Pennsylvania Hillclimb Association, which that's the last time I say that, it's PHA, and the Appalachian Hillclimb Series, AHS, are just booming in popularity right now. It's an exciting time. There are some crazy cars being built that are coming out, and they're gunning for King of the Hill records. So yeah, it's a fun time.
I mean, I saw some of the results from the one at Pine Mountain with the shirt you got on there from last year with JB Boyer and I think it was Cody Puckett and those guys just screaming up that hill. Holy cow! Yeah.
So I got to give a shout out to a friend, Mark Auble. He was having some car issues. He would have been in the mix too.
Oh man!
At the time, he still has it. It's a Mustang with an LS swap.
And Chris Brown, if you're watching, that's what we want.
And a BMW DCT transmission.
Nice.
If that car was working, he would have been up there too. He's
man.
former king of the hill there. So
Really, that's cool.
Yeah, last year was cool because the Carcass, the horsepower TV show, they were even in the pits walking around. So if you watch that show, or you can find it on YouTube, they did a couple segments on the Pine Mountain Hill Climb.
That's awesome. They're actually, I don't know if anybody's paying attention. They're building a wicked road race Camaro right now. That is it's gonna be fast.
I have a feeling they're gonna show up to a hill climb. I really do.
Yeah. I've been so I know Jimmy King. He autocrosses with us occasionally out here, and I keep telling him, well, like, if you guys get that thing done in time for Camaro Fest, you got to go, break it in there, and then let's see this thing tear it up.
Yeah. So
I'll
go into a little bit of history, I guess, with the two organizations I mentioned. So the Pennsylvania Hillclimb Association, the PHA, they've been around for 70-ish years. 1959, I think, is when they formed. And so basically they formed, it's SCCA regions that formed like a coalition basically to put on these events. And they each kind of like, they take an event, they get the sanctions and everything like that. The AHS is similar. It has member regions, but they kind of spun off from the Southeast Division. They had historic hill climbs, Chasing the Dragon, which is still around. It's just called the Dragon Hill Climb now, but a lot of people know Chimney Rock Hill Climb. So there's tons and tons of history with these organizations. AHS as its own entity started with Pine Mountain in 2021 with the help of Backroads of Appalachia, who I know, like Jeff and Tim Gordon, shout out. They love Drift Appalachia. I see them posting the videos all the time.
He already posted it up. He's all for it.
See, I know. So that's in partnership with Backroads of Appalachia. They help them find new hills, put the hills on, make sure that the community's involved, and once the events in their towns.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it like that's important because, I mean, you bring a race and you've got a bunch of people that are there to race. I mean, that is opening a lot of doors on commerce wise too. I mean, there's going to be a lot of small businesses that are going to benefit from, a couple thousand people showing up to go race up the mountain. Yeah.
So you can go on Backroads of Appalachia's website. They do surveys for their motorsports tourism events. They'll give out surveys, and they've calculated it's millions and millions of dollars generated from motorsports tourism in Appalachia, from West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky. So,
and there's a lot of history that comes with that. I mean, everybody always talks about NASCAR and where it all came from, but it was in Appalachia that it started. I mean, that was where the moonshiners were running China and everything. So, I mean, there's a lot of history with high speed driving through those mountain passes.
Yeah. And it's cool. I love seeing the drift Appalachia stuff. And you go on to Instagram, Facebook, and you see people who are excited about it. And they're saying, how can I do this? Where can I spectate? And it doesn't seem as easy. It's not as accessible as hill climb. So I'm always on there going, hey, come check out hill climb. It's accessible. You can have spectators. You know where the hills are.
Yeah.
So
okay. So tell us a little more about the Pennsylvania started what, 59 you said?
I think it was 1959 it was formed.
So what events are they running each year now? Like how many events do they have a year? So people want to go see this stuff and they want to participate. What's that
right? Like? So unfortunately they lost the hill climb. So last year was the last time they held the Polish Mountain Hill Climb, which was the first hill climb that I spectated at. And that was just due to the lack of community support, really. The fire department that was essential to put the event on, their membership is aging out. They have other fundraising activities that do a little better. The farmer that owns the land that the pits were held on, he doesn't want to, he wants to use it for farming and not
Yeah.
parking cars on. So they decided to not have that event this year, but they have one track event, I believe, at the end of the year. It's on Summit Point, Shenandoah,
Okay.
and they hold it like a track sprint. So basically like a horizontal hill climb.
Yeah.
But then they have 5 actual separate hill climb events.
Okay.
They have 2 in the town of Weatherly, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
spring and fall, Weatherly Hill Climb. They have 2 in Reading, Pennsylvania. The earlier one in June is called Pagoda Hill Climb. And then in August, they have the Duryea Hill Climb, which is kind of like the big daddy of their hill climbs. People call it the Super Bowl of their hill climbs. And it's a giant, scary, fun hill.
That's awesome.
And then they have Giants Despair Hill Climb, which is in Laurel Run, which is just outside of Wilkes-Barre, PA. And that's a crazy hill because that's an old one. Since like 1906, that hill's been run. And it's like Louis Chevrolet. Daryl Danko is like, I think he still holds the record. Oscar Kovaleski ran up that hill. Penske ran up that hill. Big names.
Oh yeah, you're getting the big dogs that started everything.
And the other cool thing about that hill is that it's the biggest hill for spectating. There'll be like thousands of people up on the turn called Devil's Elbow, and they start drinking at like 8 a.m. So they're rowdy if you go through there wrong.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. So, and then the AHS series, they also dropped one event. They didn't lose a hill. They just dropped an event. So this year, 2024, they're having 3 hill climbs. They're having the Pine Mountain Hill Climb. That's in the later part of April. Then they have the Flag Rock Hill Climb. That's in Norton, Virginia. And then the Dragon Hill Climb in North Carolina, kind of near the tail of the dragon. Yeah.
That's cool. So that's a lot of events. That's 9 events for the year to try to get out to.
Yeah, 8 hill climbs. That are within several hours of millions of people.
Yeah. So like if you're out here on the East Coast, I mean, you're within a couple hours of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like I said, that's not even mentioning the other hill climbs. There's vintage hill climbs that you can go to. There's one, New Hampshire. I think there's one. There's one in Hershey, PA. New England has their own complete separate organization that they run hill climbs with. So if you want a hill climb, there's a lot of it.
The potential's out there for you.
For sure.
So then let's talk entry and rules and things like that. What is it that kind of gets involved with the hill climb thing? Because I think one of the I guess the pieces of apprehensiveness for some people might be rule set. Are they going to have to cage their car? Are they going to have what rules are going to be needed to be able to run?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the one thing about hill climb for a lot of people was the barrier to entry. And the main one is you do have to have some kind of roll protection. For both AHS and PHA, it's a minimum of a roll bar. But before I even go there, there's still lots of ways that somebody can get involved. And I would recommend it. I mean, I went and spectated hill climbs before I was able to go do it. They always need people on the hill flagging corners, and that is literally the best seat in the house. It doesn't get any better. You don't get any closer to the action than that. They give you free food. You get to sit out on a nice corner watching cars fly by. It's a good deal. They need officials in other ways, people in the pits, starters. They need people doing like administration stuff. If you know your way around, motorsports registration, great. They'll gladly take the help. And some of the hills have decent spectating. Some of them don't. But if nothing else, come look. And I have it written down to kind of go through like what each hill is actually like, so I can kind of cover that there, like spectating there. But if you want to be a driver, the number one thing is that holds people up is the roll bar, and that's a minimum. If you're lucky enough to have a popular car, a bolt-in roll bar can be acceptable. For instance, Auto Power, they make SCCA legal roll bars for many cars. Kirk is another one that makes some bolt-in roll bars and roll cages, and they start at like $700.
Yeah.
So that's a big expense. I'm not saying that it's not, but that's, in the scheme of things, it's not too awful.
So now when you say roll bar with this, it doesn't need to have door bars extending to the front of the car. It just needs to have rollover protection.
Correct. When I say a roll bar, it starts at 4-point. So you have the main hoop, 2 down bars going backwards. 4 or 5-point roll bar is acceptable for most classes. There are caveats to some of these classes and rules.
But I suppose if a newcomer coming into this, somebody that's novice to the hill climb side of things, that likely, unless they've got a car that is just built to an extreme level already, they're likely going to be able to fit into one of the classes that a 4-point would work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people start with street cars. I did. When I decided I wanted to hill climb, I went and bought a $2,000 Acura Integra. And I spent $700. I got a custom-made roll bar put in it, and I drove to events, and I hill climbed it. So, yeah, I mean, it is accessible in that manner where you can take a street car. Now, you're not going to be gunning for records. You're not going to be gunning for King of the Hill, but you get to go experience it.
Oh, yeah.
And
well,
awesome. I don't know anybody that's done that hasn't got sucked in and ended up getting another car and a truck and a trailer, me included.
That's how it is, man. That was me with autocross.
Some of the other things that you do need, obviously, a helmet. Obviously, at least a 5-point harness, 5-6-point harnesses. A newer requirement is you need a fixed back racing seat, so no reclining seats. It has to be a one-piece seat, securely mounted. And I think that just makes sense since now we're talking. You have roll protection and harnesses. You're supposed to have a one-piece seat. A fire extinguisher, which those are pretty affordable, and I know a lot of time trial organizations require those anyways. You can just have one bolted into your car. You don't have to have a fire suppression system. You can. That would be great. All these rules, all these requirements are just minimum, so if you want to go crazy with the safety equipment, you're more than welcome to. You're encouraged to. Another big expense is the personal safety equipment. So you need a racing suit, gloves, shoes, and if you have facial hair, a balaclava.
Okay, so if you got a beard, you got to have the balaclava.
Yeah, it's required then.
What about like a Hans or a neck brace?
Yeah, so with the PHA, they made it a requirement for this year. So for 2024, a Hans device is required. There is right now, they have one of their participants who sells racing equipment, racing gear. They're doing a group buy on Hans devices. So there's a way you can cut some costs. Now, with AHS, it's not required yet. It's not required, but it's highly recommended.
Now, is it Hans specific, or would the neck brace, the 3.3, I think, what is it, 3.5 or whatever neck brace be acceptable too?
So like the foam neck braces, those are not acceptable.
Okay, so it's got to be a Hans.
Yeah, it has to be a head and neck restraint. And I know there's several different versions out there. You have the Hans brand. You have Next Gen, which is what I have and I love. Zamp makes a really affordable one. And I know there's a
Yeah.
bunch of other ones out there now too.
No, it's just funny that you bring up this stuff. We actually about a week ago released a new kit which showcase, has everything you would need to go run this. For the hill climb thing, we would need to add the Hans device to it, but Zant makes a very affordable Hans device for people getting to the entry level.
Yeah.
It's not it's not as expensive as some of the others on the market, so it's definitely something that we could take care of if you guys needed something like that.
Yeah. So there you go. The other thing that you would need is arm restraints. Unless you have like a caged car where you have a window net, arm restraints that hook into your to the latch of your harnesses.
Yeah.
That keep your arms from flying around if you're in an incident. That's the only other requirement. And honestly, if you showed up to an event and you said, listen, I got everything I have, but I don't have arm restraints, somebody there is going to have arm restraints or let you use their arm restraints.
Yeah.
People want you to come run and have fun. So, ask for help. And people are willing to help.
That's the one thing about this, this grassroots style of racing, whether it's autocross or whether, some of the time trial stuff or this, that has been something that really stands out. It's the community piece of it. I mean, everyone is willing to help each other and hop in a car and help each other get back on track if they need help or, give them what they need to get to the track,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and hill climbers love telling you those stories too about how people helped them, went out of their way to get a part or something for them. So hill climb's no different.
No, that's awesome. All right. So safety gear wise, so we did have one comment earlier, post a list up. So what we'll do is when we get done here, make sure you shoot me everything on this, and we'll post it up on both the Autocross Operators page and to the Operational Speed Supply page, so everyone can kind of see what this looks like. Same thing with the schedule. Post up the schedule, man. We'll get that thing shared out to anybody that wants to see that because, I mean, this sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is I'll have you put up the AHS website, the PHA website. They both have their own lists on there. They have like the easy, like, I kind of want to do this. What do I need version? And then they have the actual rule book version where it details exactly what you need. So yeah, we'll get those links out there. I should mention the other thing you probably need, but as far as I know, it's been years for me, but you need a novice permit. Okay. But I believe that can be taken care of at the hill. As long as you're an SCCA member already, you show up to the hill, they'll get you your novice permit.
Okay. Well, we'll do a little background work on that and make sure we post it up. So if there is any questions that people might have, they'd be able to check it out and get it answered.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a kind of a good segue too, talking about a novice permit, because talking a little bit about the differences between PHA and AHS. PHA has a novice program. So your first 3 events, you're going to be going to a novice meeting. You're going to be doing novice walks. You take a novice truck ride. You'll have a novice instructor, and they kind of help you navigate the weekend. But also, they'll help you with driving stuff, things to look out for.
Yeah.
AHS doesn't really have a specific novice program. But yeah, I mean, everything is novice friendly. Everybody's there to help you. They'll make sure you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No, that sounds good. That's the one thing too, regardless of racing organization, people tend to get a little nervous first time out there. They don't know where they're going, what they need to do, who to talk to, and whatnot. So that having that program in place definitely helps. It makes it a little bit more, beginner friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the thing too. Like these events are run on Saturday and Sunday, but you're really going to want to show up there on Friday. It's just going to make everything move slower and more smoothly. You can, if you're not worried about where you're putting your car and where you're sleeping and how you're getting dinner, all in the same 2 hours, your weekend's going to go a lot better.
No, it definitely sounds like it. It's one of those things, prepared, get yourself prepared for the weekend and make sure your mind's there. I know, and I'm guilty of it myself, but showing up to an autocross or whatever, especially if it's a 2-day event, you show up on if it's a Friday, Saturday event, you show up Thursday night at 1 a.m, you are not ready when it comes time to hit the track Saturday morning. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. So hopefully people are like, all right, I'm pretty excited about this. I want to do this. And they're thinking about where their autocross car fits in, or maybe their time trial car fits in, or their, Optima car fits in, their King of the Mountain car fits in.
Yeah.
What's really cool about both the PHA and AHS is their classing kind of just melds everything together, right? So you can bring an autocross car, you can bring a time trial car, you can bring a road race car, you can bring a car that you built specifically for hill climb, and it has a place to run. The PHA, they have about 60 classes, and it's all SCCA autocross classes. Not all of them, but like street prepared, street modified. They have those classes. They have all the road race classes, and then they have several like specials classes for hill climb monsters, vintage cars, things that don't quite fit anywhere else. The AHS method, so they have 8 classes, and autocross, time trial, and road race cars kind of filter into those levels. And if you basically, you can like bust out of a level by doing something that's not legal in autocross, time trial, or road race, then you would just go up to the next class.
Oh, okay.
So they call it the classing matrix.
Yeah.
And so it's really neat because you go on there and you just literally go across. You say, okay, I have a 2.5 liter. Let me see. I have it right here.
Well, heck, I'm going to give you an example. All right. So we had the question pull in. This is Dane Howell. Dane is running, I think, don't shoot me if I get it wrong, Dane. I believe it is a 78 Chevy Love. And he is LS swapped this thing. He has a custom, short, long arm front suspension setup on this thing with coilovers. I do believe he's still running leaf springs on the rear.
So sounds to me like he would be in super mod for AHS, or maybe mod unlimited. Probably on mod unlimited based on the displacement limit. Tires are open, so you VTOR guys, no problem. There's no problem anyways. There's no problem. But then, so you'd have to be otherwise legal for unlimited 1 in SCCA time trial. D-mod or E-mod in solo, or GT1 in road race. Here.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
So we're going to get that posted up for everybody to take a look at that thing.
Yeah.
Dayton corrected me. It was a 75. My bad, bro. First round's on me when we hang out.
So that's pretty easy to go through. And this is the question that both AHS and PHA get all the time. Where I don't understand where my car class is. Yeah. And it's difficult because you don't know, am I looking in the solo rule book, the autocross rule book? Am I looking in the GCR? Some of the safety rules are in the GCR. They're not in the solo rule book. AHS runs their program from the SCCA time trials safety prep level. So you have level 2 and level 3, depending on what your modifications are. Yeah. So, but all the information's out there. It really is, and I know sometimes it's tough to pick your way through it, but there's plenty of people to help. There's a Facebook page for the PHA. There's a Facebook page for AHS. And we're used to answering those questions.
Well, good, man. Well, that's awesome. So we'll make sure we get all this posted up. We're going to share both Facebook pages and make sure that all that info gets out there. And if you're going to go run one of these events, definitely give us a call. We'd love to see you guys racing out there. Anybody, watching tonight. Same thing goes. If you're considering one of these and you're worried about like safety gear, give us a call. We'll help you out with safety gear. We've got everything that you could need for that. And Josh, I'm sure you're no stranger to answering questions. So if anybody's got questions, they can hit you up.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free.
Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, Josh, what else is there that we need to know about this hill climb stuff, man? What else can we viewers need to hear?
Yeah, so the only thing I have left was I was just going to talk about the like each individual event, what it has to offer. I kind of went through the events, but a little more about like the atmosphere at events.
Mm-hmm.
So with AHS, they have Pine Mountain Hillclimb, which is in Pineville, Kentucky.
Yep.
And it's they have a state park there, which is actually where the hill is run up through the state park. That's where the course goes through. At the bottom is this beautiful amphitheater, like natural rock amphitheater with like a pond and cliffs, and that's where the pits are. At the top of the hill, there's a lodge, and you can actually, as part of your entry, stay at the lodge. They they block out the whole lodge. You can get a room at the lodge and stay there. So your lodging is taken care of.
Lodging set, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. They technically don't have camping in the pits or the paddock. No tent camping. But if you have a trailer and you're going to stay in your trailer, you can do that. You can't have campfires. It's not camping per se.
Yeah.
Now, Flag Rock Hill Climb, the pits and paddock are in the downtown of Norton in Virginia.
Oh wow!
So it's really neat. You can go to the shops and the stores, and you have everything you want there. You can stay there in the pits and paddock there. Pine Mountain is also great because on Friday night they have a police escort. All the race cars go from the hill, police escort down to downtown, and they have a little square, a town square, like Back to the Future.
That's awesome.
And they set up the race cars around the town square. There's live music. There's games for the kids, bounce houses. You're encouraged to go, eat and drink at the establishments there and just hang out. That's where like the Carcass crew was walking around, filming cars. So that's really fun. It's a neat little additional fun thing. And then the Dragon Hill Climb is really different because I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, tail of the dragon, don't cross the mustard." Well, you can go to the Dragon Hill Climb and you can cross all the lines. They don't care. It's a little bit more, I would say, like a low key event. So there's not like town involvement, and there's not a lot of, you can't really camp there. So you're going to stay off site and drive to the event. But that's one of the faster, more challenging hills. So that's why people, and that's one of the older hills, that used to be chasing the Dragon Hill Climb. So people were familiar with that one. That was a really popular one in the Southeast. And then moving to PHA, the Weatherly Hill Climbs, they're held right on the outside of the little town of Weatherly. You can camp right there in the paddock. Everybody hangs out there. They have, their fire pits, and they walk around. You have beverages and talk. They built a brand new awesome pavilion where they can have events there, live bands and everything. And the spectating's pretty good there. You can walk pretty much to the top of the hill. They have a jump. Weatherly is the one everybody knows for the jump at the top. You see pictures of cars 4 wheels off the ground. That's Weatherly. And you can
awesome.
walk right up to the jump to watch cars.
That's cool.
So yeah, the town's right near there, so you can have some food options, gas. So that's pretty good. Pagoda is right near Reading, so it's obviously a bigger city. Great hill though. Autocrossers love that hill because the first like 7 turns are autocross turns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it does have some really fast, challenging sections that are scary. They're fast. It's a public road, so there's you have the ridges and the camber, so it's challenging. There you camp at the top of the hill. They have a fire tower on top of the mountain that you can walk up in, and so that's where the pits are. In the morning, you drive down to the bottom of the hill for the actual pits where you're going to be for the day. Almost all these hills, you drive to the top, and then you kind of like stage up. And once your group is done, then you all drive back down. So that's one thing to consider too. Like I said about Giants Despair is cool because it's right next to Laurel Run. You can walk down there. There's hotels a mile from the bottom of the hill, but you're welcome to camp in the pits. Friday and Saturday night, they have an area where they have live bands in the woods. And so you have live entertainment. You can take your cooler up there. The crowd is amazing. Go up and watch with the people that have been drinking since 8 a.m. At Devil's Elbow.
It sounds like a hell of a party, man. It sounds like a great time where you're getting to drive public roads like a demon.
Yeah, I mean it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true to do that. Like you think about it all the time when you're a kid or doing stuff dumb when you're young, but we actually get to do it.
You shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
man,
and so
that sounds good.
Duryea is just like the longer version of Pagoda.
Okay.
So Pagoda, there's actually a pagoda on the mountain, and so like that's basically for Pagoda. That's basically where you stop. For Duryea, goes the whole way up to the fire tower I mentioned. There's another finish line up there, so it's the longer, faster version of the hill, and that's awesome. It's like a really big deal to get under 2 minutes there. And I think only like 2 or 3 front-wheel drive cars have ever gone under 2 minutes.
So Jeff Gordon, there's your cue, man.
Yeah,
you got to get under 2.
Not calling you out or anything, buddy.
And the cone vault.
Get that thing caged. Get out there.
I know, man. He's working on it now. I can't wait to see that thing finished up. Yeah, Jeff, you got to get out there, man. Break that 2-minute record with the cone vault. I have confidence in you, bro. Complete confidence.
But yeah, that was it. I know that was just like a whole bunch of information thrown out there, but yeah, everybody has their own opinion on which hill they like the best and why and everything. So I wanted to get non-opinionated. Here's what you can expect at each hill.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Like hill climbing is something that I wanted to get into. I mean, I've you always hear it like you were saying earlier, you hear about the big ones, Pikes Peak, the Virginia City Hill Climb out in Nevada, and things like that. And like, I definitely want to do it. It looks like a blast. And I would love to, get out there. I'm actually getting ready to get my cage done on mine here in about a couple of weeks. I'm taking it to the guy that's going to be doing everything on that. And I'm looking forward to getting it back and all that. But I told him, I said, I want it to be legal. And he's like, dude, the cage I will give you will get you through anything but NASCAR. I'm like, all right. I can work that.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting to try to get out there and run the old third gen up the hill.
Yeah. And that's kind of, that's why I wanted to come on, because so many people just don't realize that it's here. It's you're in like middle Tennessee.
Yeah, just outside of Nashville, about 20 minutes north.
So I mean, you're like 5-6 hours from Pineville, Kentucky.
I think about 4 hours from Pineville. I've actually got a really good friend that's from there.
Okay.
Yeah, he does a lot of the photography and stuff. Brent Percival, and I've been out to his place a couple times. He's maybe 4 hours away.
I stood next to him at turn 1 at Pine Mountain last year.
Yeah, man. Brent's awesome. I've known him for the better part of 8 years now, man. He is a super awesome guy.
Yeah, he was super cool to hang out with. But
yeah,
it's so that's 5 hours. Norton's probably 6 hours. From you, we have a bunch of people from PA that drive down there for these hills.
That's awesome.
For every event, and that's 8-9 hours for us, and we're still doing it.
Well, that's good, man. Well, brother, I had a blast having you on tonight talking hill climb stuff, man. And make sure we'll get everything posted up. Josh will shoot me everything. We'll get it posted up on our pages and share everything. It should be a good deal, man. We're excited about the year starting off.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Everybody out in Facebook land, thank you again for tuning in. If you're interested in hill climb stuff, stay tuned. We'll get everything posted up here. If you need safety gear, give us a shout. We've got the new Rapid Racing Kit, which has literally everything you need to jump in a car and go. Helmet to suit or helmet down to shoes, all of it. And then lastly, big shout out and thank you to Redline for hooking us up and taking care of us and their support for, getting us on track and everything like that. So on that note, Josh, it's been great having you on, brother. And let's plan on maybe a mid-season recap, man. We'll talk about a couple of events that went down maybe June or July or something like that.
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you. Take it easy and we'll talk soon.